And I'm going to talk about something very fundamental. We have all seen this structure, right? So, how many of you have seen this structure? MIT. Right. So the idea is that in a neural network, there's an input layer, output layer, and then there's some magic that happens in the hidden layers. If you see, for example, 9, the way we see 9 is, 9 is 0 plus whatever 1. This is a snapshot from three BNB videos, so it's something you can see on YouTube. But what I'm trying to say here is that the patterns that neural network sees is not the pattern that we see, right? So when we see a 9, we see a 0 and 1, but neural network sees something very different. The second thing is that we all know what a Markov chain is, right? So Markov chain is very Bayesian probabilistic, and the way we construct Gen AI sentence is not Bayesian. So these are two things that we should know. And I'll just skip this slide. To now come to this boring slide. The boring slide is that what if we applied the idea of a neural network to an agent?
Can you talk into the microphone, please, because we'll hear you better.
Sorry. What if I like walking when I talk, so I can think. What if we applied the idea of a neural network over a business process? Now, what's a business process? Let's say you go to an office and you see an accountant doing whatever they do, and you see a marketing person doing whatever they do. There's a back office, there's a front office. The first question that should come to your mind is, who defined these processes? Who was the authority that came up with these ideas? So you'll realize that these processes are very organic additions to a business over a period of time since the industrial age. So an accountant, even before than that probably, a role of an accountant has been around for thousands of years. And the way we do accounting hasn't really innovated beyond simple bookkeeping. So when you look at things like inventory, things like sales tax on inventory, there's a lot of disputes that happen daily. I come from India, where we have GST, goods and services taxes. And to give you a glimpse of how complex that system is, it's supposed to be simple to tax how inventory moves between two stakeholders. To give you a glimpse, if a small business has 2 stores and 2 warehouses, there are 2 to the power 4 combinations of the ways taxes can occur. 2 to the power 4. If you have 5 places where you have inventory, there are 32 combinations of taxes that you have to file. And the reason behind that is because we have used the idea of taxing inventory. We have not created it for the new age. We have just reused this idea that has been around for hundreds of years, when the geographies were very small and the kingdoms were small, and you could tax easily, and you could do a one-on-one transaction. In today's day and age, that's obviously very complex. So in theory, if you let the idea of neural networks where you don't worry about the middle layers, there's an input layer, which let me go back to the slide again. And then there's an output layer. So you want to say, look at this number and tell me what it is. And until you're right, you keep doing that. If you apply this concept on a business process, and let's say you pick a business process like increase my conversion rate by 5%, and you let the bot work at increasing the conversion rate, they will come up with new ideas that you and I, as humans, don't readily identify with. And these are we call them alpha. These are new ideas that human mind hasn't really figured out. For us, an accountant shouldn't do marketing, finance manager shouldn't do fulfillment, project manager shouldn't do inventory. But the way A neural network works is that it has no boundaries and it'll find you a solution within the premise of your problem. So what we have seen is, what if every neuron is a bot? And what if you run thousands of bots? We call them agents, and then let them do, the job that you want them to do without any restriction of how they do it. Then you find new business processes. You find a business process alpha. And, you could have a parallel process of an accountant plus sales plus support bot doing something that was previously not known to us as a business process. And that's all there is. This is it. This is the alpha that I have. I run a company called Adversarial. We build ERPs. I've been doing that for the last 15 years. If you Google my name, that's all I've done. I went to a college in India, IIT, studied maths and computer science, and then series of misfortune events happened, and I started working on ERP. And been doing that for 15 years. And I've been working on AI as well on the side. And the reason I am interested in AI is because ERP is a classic challenge for AI. ERPs are blueprints of any business. If you go out and look at a small business, they need a structure to grow. You look at a mid-sized business, they need a structure to expand. You need a large business. You see a large business, you need a structure to control how things happen. That's what ERP does. So we think, look, AI, especially not Gen AI. I'm not talking about Gen AI specifically. I'm just talking about the idea of neural networks, applying that and machine learning to ERP can generate new business processes. And I've written a paper on that. So I'm happy to send that over to you. And the end goal is not to replace employees, but to create new types of business processes that humans can oversee. So if your agents can find new patterns, what are the examples of these patterns? For examples are, there's an example that I give that has worked for us is a buyer of inventory is the best person to market that inventory. And if you give them the tools to market the stuff that they are buying, then they are the best people to define, the product that you're selling. But in order to do that, they're not trained to do that. They're not trained to do marketing. In order to do that, you will have, if you have a set of agents that can solve that for them, then it becomes increasingly simpler. So we call that process alpha. Process alpha. Alpha is a financial term, which implies something unique that only you can do, or that only you can figure out, which you get a premium for. So if you have some process alpha, then that is something very interesting.